Welcome to the Cal Zone, your place for discussion and exploration.
Sonic is a series that stuck with me for a terribly long time. I did start with the classics despite having not played it during its release. I started with Sonic 2 and it remains my favorite classic Sonic game to this day, with its colorful art direction, music, and level design with just a couple of misgivings. The two-player races I had with my sibling may be a huge part of it though. My next stop was Sonic Adventure 2. Yes, I bought SADX and Sonic Adventure 2 together, but looking at these two covers, can you blame me? And that was flawed. From skating down San Fran traffic, to raiding military bases, to grinding rails in space, this wild ride kept me hooked the entire time. Sonic Adventure felt like a downgrade after playing this game. It had great stuff and music, but it was heavily bogged down by the settings, and the story did not feel as great to me. Shoutouts to the Tails levels and Gamma's final boss and team, which really did interesting things with the formula. The casino and pinball callback were great too. Now I was hooked into the series, and this was the point I jumped around games like Sonic Heroes to Knuckles Chaotix to Sonic CD and so on. I have to mention the portable games here. They have a special place in my heart. Sonic Advance I like more for the settings than the gameplay, like there was Music Plant, Techno Base, Toy Park. They always took the series to varied and interesting places and incorporating the setting to affect gameplay. For example, Music Plant. Music Plant has trumpets that blast you into new areas, xylophones to bounce on. There was so much color and creativity with some great tunes, which feels like a standard with Sonic these days. Speaking of great tunes on the GBA, I would like to bring attention to Sonic Battle. It had such great tunes in various genres that was hampered just by the GBA sound chip. Battle Highway is still one of my favorite tracks of all time, and Club Rouge had great swing jazz and taught you some tricks to keep you in the fight as well. It really tried to make the most out of the GBA's hardware and limitations, and there was some problems with that. But the real glaring flaw in the game was the bloated battles, which had you battling enemies 2 times or more even, and perhaps a bit of depth perception while using sprites as well. But otherwise, it's a really solid game and one of my favorites. I wish they were doing this sort of game now instead of Sonic Team Racing, but what can you do? Moving on to Sonic Rush. Sonic Rush was such a blast of fresh air. It felt so kinetic, so unique. Constantly pulling off tricks while blasting at full speed was a feeling that none of the Boost games managed to replicate, even though they did attempt that. And Hideki Naganuma brought that energy to the soundtrack as well. Funny story, unfortunately the Yakuza kinda took him away from composing the sequel Sonic Rush Adventure. In a sense, he was already in the middle of composing the Yakuza soundtrack, so he couldn't come back to the Rush series, so we got a new composer for Sonic Rush Adventure, but the soundtrack isn't as good for sure. However, Sonic Rush Adventure is my favorite portable Sonic game of all time, and it probably deserves its own video in the future. I have to add that speed running in Sonic Generations 3DS was a great pastime as well, and to me, it's better than Sonic Colors on the DS. I think Dims did a great job on these games despite the flack they get these days. Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations were the Sonic games to bring back that sense of wonder to me again since Sonic Adventure 2. While Colors is getting the typical review rap that Sonic games tend to get these days, I still think it built up to such a great adventure of its own on the Wii. It was such fun, with such high concept art for levels which were only matched by Unleash. The creativity and colors made it feel like a real amusement park instead of telling you how great it was in its story or otherwise. Generations was the peak of Boost design, but it was the excitement of finding out which level they had reimagined in both classic and modern, with all the references that kept me hyped and interested in the game. You can literally see the passion poured into the project, from the cute references to changeable music to the fans cheering in the end. The mania was real in this one. So, to wrap up, why did I take you on this journey? It's because I wanted to highlight some of the games that I love so much in the series and how it impacted me. And to also show why this series is so beloved and talked about so much to this day, despite the controversy it has today. And now things have come to a crossroads for Sonic again. but I have some ideas on how to take it back to a better path with some cool game design ideas. So stay tuned to the next video on Calzone.